What's your dog's name?
Kevin. My dog's name is Kevin. No one hates Overwatch, though, more than Overwatch players. I think the humor in and of itself is like really low-hanging fruit, and I don't personally find it funny to make, so that's why I stopped making it. But when it comes to Twitch, you know, you come into my chat, you're in my house, bitch.
One question I have in regards to apologies is, do these long written apologies, do they come across as being almost salesy and PR-y? Jake Roper asked how many hot dogs you think you could fit in your mouth. Weest, what is your fursona?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I've had this in my mind for a long time.
Hey, welcome to The Create Unknown. I am Kevin Lieber. With me, as always, is Matthew Tabor. And with us now, finally, after a little cajoling, would you say, is our guest, Weest. Weest, welcome.
Hello. Hi. Thank you for having me.
What was the process by which you joined us today? Could you outline that in as much detail as possible?
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm tossing and turning in bed, having a wonderful lucid dream, not necessarily involving intercourse with a beautiful woman, but I get a call, right? I get a call from Wild Spartans, and he says, and this is my best impression of him, "Hey, Weest." Yeah, what's up? "Hey, Kevin Lieber just called me, or he texted me. I don't know what he said. You're late for the podcast." "Oh, yeah, I am. Oh my God, holy shit." And then I scramble out of bed butt naked. My dog chased me because he thinks it's playtime. And I put on some underwear and I scramble into my office. And hello. Yes, I am here. And then you guys are all in here just chilling. And I feel like I showed up to the party and all the good conversations have already been had.
Well, we were just hanging out with our patrons, which was a grand old time. But first, why is Wild Spartans like basically Cookie Monster? What is that impersonation? It's just generally like a Muppet. Okay. It sounds like to me.
The man is 6'5" nearly. He's 250 pounds of raw meat, and he is known for being a living Kirby. Like he is a monster, and not necessarily a Cookie Monster, but he will devour anything in his path if need be. But he's on the same track as me to losing weight. He was once almost 300. I think I probably just completely embarrassed him by saying that. I love the guy though, one of my best friends. But that's just how he sounds. We make fun of him before it. And back in the day, there was this one drama video on YouTube that did this. Their impersonation of him was like Wild Spartans, aka "Oh no." and that video in and of itself only has like a few views, but it was like we send that to each other. And we reference it all the time. So it's like an inside joke between the boys. He is in my circle of really close friends that play games together like pretty much every day.
You did leave out a critical detail though. You jump out of bed naked and your dog's all excited, but you forgot to say what's your dog's name?
Kevin. My dog's name is Kevin. Yes. 1 second. Let's get Kevin. Kevin.
Now, should I be flattered or insulted that I have the same name as your dog?
I think it's cool.
I think you know, Kevin's a really cool dude. He's a really cool guy. Come here, buddy. Oh, there's cashews on the floor. He wants them. Come here. Come here. I'll give you a big real cashew if you come up here. Yeah.
It's hard to compete with floor food though.
Yeah. There we go. This is Kevin. He's a corgi, an Australian Shepherd, and we got him at the kennel. We were just seeing the dogs there, and at the very, very end was this guy sitting very politely. And so we're like, okay, fine, we'll get him. We adopted him. We brought him home the next week, and we didn't want to change his name because he already recognized Kevin as his name. So I'm not going to be like, your name is, something cutesy and non-human now. He has a lot of personality. I wouldn't say nearly as much as a real guy named Kevin, but He has taught me more than Vsauce too, I will say.
I bet. I can't tell you how to love. I can't teach you how to love Weest, but I'm sure that Kevin can. I actually love pets with human names. I think it's pretty common
much
now.
More character.
But yeah, it's a lot more interesting than just naming them like Rocket or something, Sparky or Fluffy or whatever.
Yeah. I think what it does is it gives you a preconceived notion of like humanness. It immediately personifies the animal.
Yeah.
And so now you have no choice but to treat them as an equal.
Well,
like,
and
you can.
I also like the idea of just being like mad at them, like, Gary, come on, Gary, why did you do that, Gary?
See, like if I had a dog named Rocket, that's my dog, but a dog named Kevin is my roommate.
Right.
I never forget to feed Kevin. I never forget to have daily conversations with Kevin. But if it were Rocket, like, fuck Rocket. Rocket doesn't pay rent, like.
So this is the great irony, is that all of these streaming and YouTube people have goofy names on all their websites, and then they go home to like Steven the cat.
Yeah.
They themselves are known by some outlandish thing, but their dog isn't. Their dog is like, Mortimer Stevens the Third.
He's a chill dude. Mortimer sounds like he could party.
I don't know.
Wait, am I allowed to cuss? Is it okay if I don't need to watch my mouth or?
Absolutely. You just go right ahead. You just be you. You do you. We'll do. We'll do we.
This is now an episode of the Create Unknown. What was it? I forget what Ben suggested. Oh, Create Unknown Nights.
Ooh.
Yeah.
After dark.
Right. Exactly. But speaking of dark, you're awake when it's dark and you're asleep when it's day, right? So tell me about that. Why is that the gamer life? Explain that to me.
Sheer addiction to video games and no motivation to do anything during peak hours of human activity, because I could just be gaming instead. There's no real justification for it other than probably some deep psychological monkey brain shit where it's like, if I go to bed, I can't game. So I'm going to game until I fall asleep against my own will. It's probably something very, very, it's probably not that deep, really. It's just me being a procrastinating asshole about everything all the time.
Is that the daily plan then? Is wake up kind of whenever it's natural, game to exhaustion, and then repeat?
Yes.
What time does that usually happen? All of those things.
So I wake up, I sometimes I'll wake up and it'll be like 4:30 in the afternoon. And I'm like, all right, perfect. Time to start the day. I'll get up, I'll hop straight into the shower, I'll rehydrate, and then I'll like feed my dog or whatever. Or I'll just come straight in here and get to work on gaming. I'll get ready. My streams start at 6 p.m. CST. And I try not to be late for them, but sometimes I am late. Sometimes I'll wake up at 6:30 and I'm already 30 minutes late to my own stream. But I'll stream for about 4 or 5 hours until 10 or 11 p.m. CST. And then I'll chill. I'll go hang out with my girlfriend in our living room for a little bit. We'll watch a movie or whatever. Or we'll play a game. She has her PC set up in the living room. So if we want to play a game, I just come back here to my office and we get to it. Otherwise, I'll just stay in here and play. I'm addicted. My main game is Overwatch. I don't really stream Overwatch, but I've been playing it religiously for the past 3 or 4 years. I'm the highest rank in the game as far as like competitive. I'm top 500 in the game, and I just play it. I just play it every night, and I'm a piece of shit for it. And everyone hates Overwatch. No one hates Overwatch though more than Overwatch players. So
why is that? How does that make sense?
Because Overwatch is like crack. It develops a chemical dependency in your brain, and every time you lose, it's like, I lost 23 SR, but I could win one and win it back. And then when you win that one, you're like, oh yeah, dude, now I just got to win one more, and then I'm up one tonight.
Hold on,
and then
I've never played Overwatch. I'm a console gamer primarily.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't really played a lot of computer games or online gaming much at all.
Yeah.
But I know of Overwatch because I see the memes, I see the artwork, I see cosplay. I mean, it's gigantic. I don't know anything about it. Can you explain to me what it is that it does that makes it so addicting? Like the things that you were saying just sounded like gobbledygook to me. Like, what does any of that mean? Yeah. Well, how does it go?
Okay. It's a 6v6 hero-based shooter. Each individual hero has its own skills and abilities, has their own kit, basically, right? There are 3 roles in the game. There's 2 of each role on each team. There's 2 tanks, 2 damage heroes, and 2 healers, support characters, basically. And you play against 6 other players. They can have whatever composition of heroes they want. I believe there's like 30-something, like 32 heroes in the game now. My main hero is Zarya, and she is a very butch Russian woman that has this huge particle cannon, right? She can create a pink bubblegum bubble around herself. It's not actually bubblegum, it's like light energy. And if someone shoots that bubble, it absorbs the damage and converts into her gun. And then she can also do the same thing to a teammate to protect them, and it converts that energy to her gun. So the more you shoot Zarya, the higher damage she does, right? And that's just so satisfying to get to max energy and melt people for making the mistake of shooting you. The maps in Overwatch, there's like different game modes. There's there's control point where you're fighting over the middle of the map. There's 2 control points where you take 1 point and then you move to the enemy spawn and try to take the final point. There is hybrid where you capture a point and then you push the payload to the end of the map. There's regular payload, and it has so many mechanics. There's every single hero has a counter, right? Like McCree, he has no real mobility, but he's a hit scan hero. So if you can just put a shield in front of him, he can't really do much. He can't shoot through the shield. Tracer is really fast moving, but she has a really low health pool. So McCree can stun her ass and then shoot her in the head 1 time, and she's done. And I have 2,000 hours in this game, I think, and I'm still dog shit.
What? You just said you were top 500.
I am top 500, but I'm still dog shit. I am in the top 0.1% of players, and I still feel like I'm bad. Whenever I lose a game, I'm like, fuck, I am so garbage. God, I'm so bad.
2,000 hours is a lot of hours, because that is, if you take 2 weeks off a year, work a standard 40-hour work week, that is exactly 50 weeks. Like, that is an entire year of what most people are doing at their job.
Is that actually?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. No regrets. Holy shit. Oh, man.
Did you say you don't stream this, though? So you're just playing it for fun?
This game is purely a passion. It is a guilty pleasure of mine. Yeah.
So what are you streaming?
A variety of video games, whatever comes out, if it's new and trending or whatever. If it's just new and I want to try it because it's a tax write-off, you know, like I'll play a game that's new just because people want to see someone else play it. They don't want to play it themselves because it just came out. You know, they haven't seen any reviews or whatever. Or I'll play a goofy game so people can see my reaction. I'll play a serious game so people can see my reaction to the story. A really good game to stream that's not good to play by yourself is like walking simulators that are basically just extremely elaborate visual novels, right? Those are fun to play on stream because it's like watching a movie with a bunch of friends in the same room.
What's an example of one of those games?
Cool dynamic.
I'm sorry?
What's an example of one of those games? Like, what's the most popular walking simulator?
One that comes to mind is What Remains of Edith Finch. The premise is basically like you are an adult woman now and you're revisiting your family, like your childhood home, and the home is just so outlandish. Like it has 17 additions to the home. Like it was a regular home and they added like a deck, and then they added a guest room on that deck, and then they put some boards on top of the house and they added another house, right? And then they kept building this huge, like massive tree house. And the story there is just weird. Like your great aunt turned into a cat when she was a kid and she was let outside, and the premise is really weird. Like it's told through the eyes of a kid even though you're an adult now, and it's really good though. And the gameplay is non-existent. That's the thing about walking simulators. You're just walking through and interacting with objects, not really doing any actual gameplay. No puzzles, no combat, none of that. It's just you're having a story told to you at your own pace as you explore the world. And it's extremely immersive that way. And walking sims are boring by yourself because you just want to speed through them. But whenever you're playing it with a chat, it's like, oh, go back, you missed something. And it's like, oh, what is this? And you want to interact with it. You want to read it out loud for people. When you read stuff out loud, you absorb it better, So I enjoy it more. The viewers enjoy it more. And it's usually a good 4 to 6 hours of content. And I enjoy them. I enjoy them. They're cheap games typically, and they can tell really good stories. Games can tell stories better than movies, in my opinion. So that's why they're fun to watch.
So that's a radically different thing than what you did when you started, because years ago you started doing stuff on, what was it, iFunny?
Oh,
let's go back to the beginning on this and track through that first kind of venture on that, on that platform to the mishmash of YouTube and streaming now.
Yeah, so I started so like there's like a gray area, right? Where I was just making stuff just for fun, and I kept making stuff until it became no longer just like a little chore or a fun pastime. It became like a real thing that I could do. But that gray line, or that gray area, was really predefined after iFunny. When I was on iFunny, it's just a mobile app, right? I just got out of high school. It was the summer of 2016, going into the fall semester, my freshman year, right? And I didn't know what I wanted to do. I tried like making mini vlogs on my Instagram, and I didn't really know what to do with that. I had no personality. I was extremely uncomfortable on camera. But when I was on iFunny, I just decided, okay, I always want to do radio, and I thought at the time that I had a decent voice. But what I was actually doing was I was a 17-year-old kid faking his deep voice. I was like, hey guys, this is my real voice. I hit puberty when I was 9, and I'm a very deep voiced man. I'm a bass player. I'm actually a baritone, and I could never get that through my thick skull. And it was just this weird thing where I was like reading people's profile names and rating their profiles, and then you could republish that, which is just a retweet, right? It's the equivalent of a retweet, and that would get me followers. And I just did that, and then I would just read memes. I would pretend to be funny. I would make vines. They added integration for vines to be embedded into the site or on the app, so you could like make a vine and then upload it. And that was really the first time that you had video that wasn't like a shitty YouTube link on the app. And I did that for maybe a year, and then the community in and of itself, the community on that app is not the best. I was doxxed at least once. Thankfully, they got the address wrong. I was, just this is the standard amount of hate you get whenever you create a website where everyone has anonymity.
Why did somebody dox you though? That's a pretty serious thing.
What did you like me.
What did you do?
They thought I was unfunny.
That's it. That results in doxing, not being funny enough.
Listen, guys, as far-fetched as it sounds, that is it. I mean, another thing was I was towards the end of my career on that platform, right? Before I said fuck it and I decided to start uploading all my videos to Instagram. I was a moderator for the app, and basically all that meant was the actual admins for the app that were paid just gave me the ability to report something and just delete it instead of a report actually going through. So I was told that I was supposed to delete shit like anything illegal, anything gory, against the terms of service and shit like that, and anyone that was doing anything really violent or hateful. So like, I don't want to go into detail, but this app was just like dipping your head into toxic waste. and that's okay. The people that use the app, they totally belong there. It's a place for them.
I kind of do want to go into detail. What were some of like the grossest or weirdest and most heinous things that you had to delete, even if you have to like tiptoe around the description of them? Like, what sort of things are people trying to get away with?
Shit that people get stabbed in prison for.
Okay.
A lot of dead bodies. A lot of dead bodies. A lot of like live leak videos and shit. A lot of like the most decrepit image in my head is a woman's body that had been there for quite some time, and she was like, it was a crime scene photo basically, but it was outdoors and everything like that, and damn near mummification. That app was terrible, dude.
So they
So
were
kind of
paying
like
you
the things like Something Awful.
right.
I'm sorry?
Like what you're describing reminds me of what the Something Awful forums were famous for like 15 years ago.
Yeah, and you know, the thing is, man, like when you see so much of it, you become conditioned to it, you become immune to it, and I am now, but I wish I wasn't. I wish I still had a little bit of my human empathy. But fuck, it's crazy how the internet can take that away from you.
I didn't think we'd ever hit the point where we would legitimately be able to ask a guest. So what was the exact point at which you stopped being a human?
Yeah.
You weren't even getting paid. You were doing it for free, losing your innocence.
Yeah, that's another thing too. And it's just, you know, the fact that everything went the way it did is just, it's good and bad. I mean, I wish, part of me wishes that I could go back and have just never started making content. Just so I don't have to worry about like, man, am I going to get doxxed again? Am I going to have to move? Yeah. Like when I was doxxed for the first time, I was living on campus at school. So it's not like, oh, you find the dorm I live in. Okay, now what? And another thing, a lot of the people that use platforms like that, they're mostly young teens. A lot of them are children even. So I'm not really necessarily worried about a 12-year-old coming to my dorm in the middle of nowhere in East Texas and shooting me or stabbing me, or someone ordering a deep web hitman or anything like that, which is, you know, a total possibility, but at the same time, unlikely. But I left that app shortly after about 10 months of actually using it and posting content to it. These were like fucking 30-second videos of me just pretending to be funny by reading memes. I was extremely uncreative and unfunny on that platform, but it's like I was the only guy that knew how to record his voice or something like that. So that's why people gave me attention. I don't know. I started uploading my stuff to Instagram, and then I came up with the idea to do my AmandyXD series, which I no longer do, and I'm not the most proud of, but I do respect it as the content that gave me a huge boost to get all the traction that I got. And the premise is, and I hope you guys haven't seen them, I hope you guys know nothing about it. The premise is I pretended to be a little girl to lure the more scumbaggy older men of the internet into interacting with me. Now, all I would do is I would go to this website called what was it called? Kick Finder? You guys remember Kick? The little chat app?
No. Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah.
I would go to Kick
It's
Finder.
sort of like a WhatsApp thing, but
yeah,
I think it's still pretty popular, like in East Asia and other parts of the world.
Yeah, it's still popular outside of the States for sure. I would go to kickfinder.com. I would put in my username, and I'd say like looking for young girl looking for older men to talk to, right? And so people would find that description, and they would find my username, and then they would message me, and I would just get all sorts of men, and I would text them and interact them in absurd ways. Like I, as a 19-year-old dude, or was I 18? I would put on really long stockings, and I'd have my hairy thighs bulging out, and I would send them pictures of that, and they liked it. So it was funny, and it made for views and shit. But now I think the humor in and of itself is like really low hanging fruit, and I don't personally find it funny to make. So that's why I stopped making it. A lot of people think that I stopped making it because of like privacy issues, because the main picture that I was using was actually of a woman's like talent show thing that she got in a big newspaper for, and I just pulled that image from Google, and it was an image of a young girl, but the actual person is like a grown-ass woman. I reached out to her, and she said she didn't want me using her picture anymore. I was ready to just do whatever. I was ready to face app my own face into a girl and use that. But then I was also like, I don't really like doing this anymore. So I just stopped doing it. I stopped making those videos, and it kind of killed my channel for a little bit. But I was okay with that because I wasn't enjoying making those. It was a chore. It
was really interesting to see your community react to you pulling the plug on that. So we're going to hit the archives here. On March 12th, 2018, you tweeted, "Hey, if all you want is Amandy videos, then you should suck a nut. I hate those videos. Ha ha ha." Yeah. So that's a pretty clear, like, I don't want to do this anymore. But there's a really funny exchange in the replies, right? Where, you know, people are kind of bummed that you're not, and, you know, calling you all sorts of names for quitting on that series.
Yeah.
But you say, "No, I fucking don't love them. I fucking hate them. They're unfunny and they're cringy, and I don't like making them." But the reply the reply to this from Jerry just replies, "You're the only one who thinks that." And I laughed so hard at that because this is somebody in, a fan, whatever, coming in.
Gosh.
Who's like, "You're so wrong about the content you're producing. We all love it. Even though you're saying here 10 times over that you don't like it and don't want to do it anymore, I'm basically going to call you out as a moron for not, for not liking this." And I just read that exchange and I'm just like, this is peak kind of streaming YouTube, all of that stuff on Twitter, where you're just coming out and saying, for these reasons, I'm done. And they're valid reasons too.
Yeah.
Like, you felt funny about it and you could do other things. That's perfectly legitimate. And somebody's like, "Yeah, come on, man. You're the only one who thinks that. Just keep going. Just keep producing this stuff that makes you uncomfortable."
Yeah. Keep making my free content. Come on now. Chop, chop. That sense of entitlement is one of the reasons I stopped making those videos, because it catered to a really, that humor attracts a really much like younger audience, a much like shorter attention span audience as well, because those videos are really short. And they live in this false reality where YouTubers are their little monkeys. And I'm not a monkey. I'm a Twitch streamer. You're my monkey, if anything. Is
that a big dynamic shift, do you feel? So let me give you an example of from my days in the restaurant industry. Okay. I would serve tables for a while, and then I went from serving tables, being a waiter, to being a bartender. And what I quickly realized is that when you are a server, you are at the beck and call of the guest. It does not matter what the guest wants. It can be completely ridiculous. It is your job to do whatever they want. Conversely, if you are a bartender, you're in charge. If you want to cut somebody off because you think they've had too much, you can do that. If you want to kick somebody out because they're doing something you don't like, they're out of there. It's an incredibly different dynamic, even though they're kind of the same job. So I'm wondering if that's a similar dynamic that you're seeing between those two things on YouTube and on Twitch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. Like whenever I was done with making those AmandyXD videos on YouTube, I was like, I'm fucking done. It's whatever, I know I'm capable of making different types of content that people will still watch. And if people demand that old kind of content, no, fuck you, suck a dick. And they see me as like their content slave, their content machine, right? Make content. I'm not saying I feel like that anymore, I don't want to tiptoe around offending hypothetical people that I don't even know if are gonna DM me after listening to this, right? but when it comes to Twitch, you come into my chat, you're in my house, bitch. Like, this is my chat. I am the judge, jury, and executioner here. If you come in and you have like a condescending tone or anything like that, you're like, this is boring, or you suck at this game, which has never hurt my feelings, by the way. You suck at this game has never once gotten to me, because I already know I suck at this game. Pussy Slayer 17. I already know that I'm bad at this game. Okay. But
then what? Then you just ban them from the chat, or what? And then they can't watch you? How does that work?
I'm not a guy that likes to ban per se. I will ban people for arguing with other people in chat. I will ban people for saying things that could get me banned on Twitch. Like my bot uses a string of regex that learns new versions of racial slurs and automatically deletes them and bans the person that types them. Like, it's a page and a half of regular expressions, right? That every time it detects something that fits within the parameters of a racial slur, it adds that new configuration of letters to the list, letters and symbols and numbers and shit. And now anyone who uses my chatbot across Twitch also bans people for that exact same thing. It's like this AI, man, that learns bad words. And I ban people for that. Like I said, I ban people for drama and shit. If someone comes in and they bring up like YouTube drama and shit like that, like what are you doing, man? What is this, reality show for you? Like, shut up. I'm playing Minecraft, man. What the fuck are you talking about? I ban people for that, but I never ban people for just being a general shithead. I will roast them or whatever. And then typically people don't like level of embarrassment. People come in and they're like really cocky. They're hiding behind their screen. You know, they have the enemy that they have everywhere. But this is not a YouTube comment section. I'm going to see your comment straight away, bud. And I'm going to respond to it. So if you come in like, this shit's boring as hell, I'm going to click on your profile and see who you follow. And I'm going to make fun of you for only watching ASMR feet streamers. Okay. And I'm going to apologize for not whispering into my microphone and having 7 inches of cleavage down my chest. And you're going to be very embarrassed in front of all my viewers. And then they're never going to talk in my stream again. That's the attitude I typically have. What kind of
drama stuff? So they'll come in knowing that something's going on YouTube between your friends or something, and they'll try to bring it up and get you to talk about it when you're just trying to play a game.
They'll come in, they'll ask me about my opinion. Like people come in and ask me about my opinion on like Leafy and Keemstar. I'm like, who fucking cares, dude? Like literally, who cares? It was this 2014. I do not care. Like I could not care less. I thought we had handled this shit 6 years ago, but now another micro generation of kids have come up. All the kids who were watching that shit back then have jobs now. And these kids who are just now learning to not piss their pants are old enough to watch this shit. So now we care again. I don't care. I remember this shit. I just do not care now. Now, if it's drama that I have been involved in, I try not to address it because it's kind of feeding the trolls, right? But if it's like something blatantly false, I will shut that shit down. Like, last year, I was an absolute fucking idiot, and I opened my mouth in regards to Slazo, Michael, and
oh yeah.
And I completely jumped the gun and I was a total fucking idiot. And since then, I personally spoke to him. I have personally apologized to him. I've also publicly apologized on Twitter. Everything was on Twitter. So I apologized on Twitter, right? I didn't want to, I never made a video on that shit. I never once like went to YouTube with it. The only thing that's on YouTube about it is people coming to my stream and like donating and asking me questions and shit and making videos out of my reactions. But, I have patched that up. So when people come to my chat and they're like, I can't believe you backstabbed your best friend Slazo. And it's like, wow. It's funny how that game works where it's like you say brown horse and the person says round horse. And then the guy says round horse. And the words get shifted so quickly. I never once knew about the guy before the drama. I'd never spoken to him in my life. I didn't know his first name. But since then, I've gotten to know him. We're in a private group chat together where we all talk and play games and shit now. And I've since gotten to actually know the guy. And I personally don't feel like I've done a good job of really making it clear that I am sorry to him. But I have personally apologized to him. We've DM'd each other. And I've patched that shit up. But when people come and they say shit like I backstabbed my best friend, like, dude, you're just wrong. You're literally just spewing false information. It's just wrong. First of all, I did apologize to him. When people say like, you never apologize. I did, it wasn't my best friend. I was just opening my mouth. I was a new YouTuber, right? I did not have friends online. And when I saw my friends online all talking about this passionately, I vicariously felt very passionate about the subject. So I opened my mouth too. And, I paid the price for that. It was dumb of me. And I've since learned my lesson. And I am embarrassed about it, but I'm not ashamed of the process because I did learn a lot from it. And I don't really need to validate that in anyone else's eyes. Like I know when I fucked up and I'm willing to accept that, take the L and move on.
We talked a couple weeks ago when Jenna Marbles made her announcement about basically canceling herself, right? We talked in that episode about things like apologies and what they mean at this point. And
they mean nothing.
I didn't think that a lot of them don't, do they? And
no.
I didn't think that we would get onto this subject, but I'm really glad that you brought it up because that was such a big deal a year ago. And we see now like daily. I mean, if you go into any I'm Alex tweet, you get, a couple dozen replies where people are still referencing this situation with Slazo. Well,
and you know why? It's just because he's the most popular out of all of us. It's honestly all it was. Mm-hmm. It's just because he had the most subscribers, so people care about him the most. Mm-hmm.
Well, you handled it, I thought, really well in that you were working on a set of information that turned out to be more nuanced and complex than it seemed initially, right?
It was nobody's business, honestly.
Yeah, sure. And then when you hit that point where you're like, I shouldn't have done that. Yeah, you described what that process was, where you talked to him and said, whoops, I remember on Twitter you said, I regret this, whatever. And then it was kind of case closed. I mean, that made a lot of sense to me, where you really kind of owned up to something you regretted and just got on with things. It doesn't seem like anybody takes that path. It worked really well. Two things here. The first one is that nobody seems to take the path. The second one is you didn't get a whole lot of credit for doing that. Didn't seem that way, at least.
It took me too long. I was very ignorant and stubborn for a long time. And I also thought if I just ignored it, that it would brush itself under the rug, which it does, actually. Shit like that does brush itself under the rug because people just forget. There's new content being uploaded daily. Their content creators are always doing something new every single day because that's how you keep people's attention. So people just forget about that shit. It will eventually resurface, but nowhere near as big as it did initially. But it was the ethical obligation that I felt like I could ignore it and it would go away, but I wouldn't feel good about that. I definitely waited too long to speak up and own up, but I think that's better than never having done it at all.
What's the process then for somebody who, for I guess lack of a better word, needs to write a twit longer? Which, if you're not, it's so weird how when there's some kind of problem, some drama thing breaks. Now it's the standard protocol to explain yourself in a twit longer on Twitter, and that's it. And so many of these are super insufficient, and a lot of them seem to cause more problems than they solve.
Yeah,
but
it's
somebody's
literally
in a
just
bad spot.
Go ahead.
What do they do? Like, yeah, you've been through that process. What do you think somebody should do?
As far as like writing a twit longer to expose someone, or writing a twit longer to apologize?
Oh, no. I mean, like, if you're in a position to apologize for something, whether, just whatever it is, when you hit the point where you realize you have to do that, what are the steps that you take? What do you wish you'd done?
What do I wish I would have done?
Yeah, like you said that you waited too long. So like addressing something sooner would have been useful, I guess.
Yeah, it was the combination of like genuine embarrassment and shame, comboed with just guilt as well. Like I just felt so guilty. I had no idea how impactful my garbage tweets would be, and it was like, oh God, I'm so ashamed of myself, and it's hard to show this side of me, right? Because I'm constantly just internet funny, man. I have no genuine emotions, right? How do I get on Twitter and tell people like, hey, I am me, Jacob. I am ashamed. I am sorry. Not, Weest is just an exaggeration of my genuine self. And sometimes that exaggeration is so much that I lose a lot of my critical thinking skills, Sometimes open mouth, brain off, and it's shit just rolls out. So it's the process of me doing that is a lot of like self-doubt and like, should I actually do this? Writing the tweet, deleting the tweet, writing the tweet, deleting the tweet, consulting my friends and shit. All my friends are like, do it, don't do it. You should, you shouldn't. And it's like, okay, so I can't get a general like unanimous opinion on this. I just have to make the decision myself. And I do. And I make the tweet, and it hurts at first because people are like, oh, this is too late, or it's not good enough. And I think that's the opinion of many apologies. People don't actually want apologies, I think. I think a lot of people, when it comes to internet drama, they don't want an apology. They want to be mad. They want outrage. They want to have a reason to use their pitchforks, I got this shit on sale. I'm going to put it to good use. And it's like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
One question I have in regards to apologies is, do these long written apologies that we see come from people, whether it be, Pokimane or whomever, do they come across as being almost salesy and PR-y, as if
they absolutely are.
As they're like
they absolutely are.
Goodyear tire apologizing for whatever political thing that they got embroiled in. So is it even a good idea, is my question, to like write out a long thing that's like, I've done a lot of self-reflection and that's not the person that I'm trying to be. And you know what I'm saying? Like, how should it just be a video? Should you be able to look a person in the eyes as they're apologizing to see whether or not you can tell whether there's genuine contrition there? Or like, what are your guys' thoughts on that in general?
In the grand scheme of things, people don't really care that much about drama. They just want to have a clean conscience when they're watching your content. They don't want any social stigma of like, oh, you watch them, don't you know that they did this? So it doesn't need to be an actual super genuine apology unless you did something illegal, unless you ruined someone's career or some shit like that, you know? Unless you like actually cause someone to lose everything and go underground and have to live the rest of their lives as a homeless man under a bridge or some shit, right? The apology just needs to be sufficient enough. Like I see people get canceled for the tiniest shit, man. The tiniest shit. One of my friends got in trouble on Twitter for making penis jokes in a Minecraft server on a live stream where the community on that server was mostly wholesome and shit, and they didn't make any vulgar jokes. And this guy comes in and he's one of my personal friends and he's talking about like jerking off and shit. And I'm not going to name any names to not bring up drama or anything like that, but like the fact that people get that upset, and you know, he's not going to make an apology for that. I would never apologize for that. I'm not going to get on Twitter like, all right, so that cum joke that I made yesterday at 8:03 p.m., while that shit was mad funny, it was also mad inappropriate. And on behalf of my sponsors, my fellow creators, like, no, none of that at all. No. But when it comes to real, genuine shit that needs to be done, people don't even care. And maybe this is me being like super base and red-pilled. People genuinely don't care about apologies because you're not a real person to a lot of these people. We are all just internet people. You know, we're not really real. We only get on the screen, right? So everything we do is kind of part of the content. And people don't necessarily want the apology. They just want the free content. Because on one hand, they're trying to tell themselves, oh, this is a real person that actually did this real thing. And on the other hand, this person only exists on my screen. They're a movie star or whatever the fuck, you know. They're a character in this little video game that I play. You know, like it's a thin line, I think, between being real and not being real. And so people don't actually give that much of a shit. So these long, drawn out apologies, first of all, people don't read them. I mean, personally, even drama that I cared about, I have not sat down and read a 3-page twit longer. You know, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm skimming through. I'm reading the general subjects that you're referencing, and I'm like making a decision based on that. And so whenever you ask, like, isn't it a little PR-y? Yeah, absolutely. We all have a personal brand, and that's all the twit longer is. The twit longer apology is us saving our face, because while there are a few people who really will care, the majority of people just don't want to feel bad about watching your content. You know, like whenever a company does something bad and then the company's Twitter makes a huge like PR statement, do you then forgive like the CEO who did the bad things? No, probably not. Right. But you do feel less bad about consuming the product of the company because our views do not align with our CFOs or our COOs actions. Like, that does not represent our moral obligations. Like, okay, cool. Now I can use this toilet paper brand. I can wipe my ass with this paper now without feeling like I'm using dirty man's toilet paper. Like, people really don't care nearly as much as we all think we do. Even me, I don't care that much now that I think about it, about a lot of shit, a lot of drama that I really pretended to care about.
Has it changed your approach in general to how you respond to things, like publicly?
Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Now my approach has changed to a method of, now write this down, this is very important, not responding at all to anything ever. I do not comment on drama that I'm not involved in. It's not my fucking problem. You know, if it's very cut and dry, if it's very obvious, then I'm like, you know, shut the fuck up. Who cares? When it's like people mad about Pokimane possibly having a boyfriend, like that's drama I can comment on, because that's not drama. That's not drama.
That's like a
that's
meme.
Just people being. Yeah, I mean that's just you guys mad that you can't get your rocks off to Pokemon in real life. Like, is she, like, it's not drama. Who cares?
So
I'll
you're
comment
saying
on
you're
that.
not a tier 3 sub.
I am not. I have gifted tier 3 subs on multiple occasions, but I personally am not a sub. No. And besides, she's taking a break. I will say though, I do have a framed photo of her back here. I don't know if you guys have seen that before, but right on the end of my thumb here. Let me see if I can zoom in for you. Right on the end. Yeah, right there.
Okay,
Wow.
yeah,
That's the elusive
now.
tier 4 sub reward.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Can you do me a
$1,000
big
donut.
favor?
But her apology,
Yeah, what's up?
Sorry, real quick. What are the tiers? I don't get it. I'm 1,000 years old. What does it mean to be a tier 3 sub?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So whenever you sub, you can subscribe. A tier 1 sub is either a Twitch Prime sub, which is free with Amazon Prime. It's now called Prime Gaming, actually, or $4.99. So you pay $4.99 a month, and the streamer gets anywhere between half to whatever their contract with Twitch allows. You start off streaming with Twitch, and if once you get a sub button, you get half, and you can renegotiate your contract later on. And then tier 2 sub is literally just paying an extra $5 for your sub. You don't get really anything extra. Twitch doesn't have a whole lot of stuff in place to reward people for spending more money. And then tier 3 sub is paying $25 as opposed to $5. So tier 1 is $5, tier 2 is $10, tier 3 is $25. And it's basically, it's nothing really. It's
none of
like,
it? You get
bragging
nothing
rights.
else? You get a badge or something in the chat?
You might get, like, so in my chat, you get an extra emote, right? You can also flare your sub. Like they have these little pixels that you can add onto your already really tiny sub badge that show like, hey, I'm a tier 3 sub. Ooh, look at me. Look how big my cock is. But aside from that, no, it's nothing. It's nothing huge or crazy. Whenever they rolled this out a couple of years ago, I was like, man, they should really add a bunch of incentivization for that, right? But they still haven't, man. It's kind of mind blowing that there's nothing really there to incentivize people to actually spend more than the $5. But I guess it's okay because they're already making enough money off of Amazon Prime and Prime Gaming and shit like that.
What could they do? What do you think would be an offer for somebody who's spending $25 a month on a Twitch channel?
I think it would be literally as simple as GIF emotes. Being able to post an animated emote in chat, people would kill for that, you know? Or the ability to do something crazy like God, I'm trying to think, man. And this is probably why they haven't done it, because there's not a whole lot of incentivization you can do without interrupting the stream or completely making everything pay to win. Maybe tier 3 subs can little shit like type faster than everyone else. Maybe they can type longer messages. Maybe they can spam more often. Maybe they can do stuff like at least allow set up the API for third-party integration, you know? Like tier 3 subs get access to this private role on my Discord server or some shit like that. Like Patreon does that. Why can't Twitch do that? It's really hard. Like the API is constantly changing and they don't announce that shit. So whenever people do make chatbots that work really well with Twitch stuff, they also end up breaking like a week later when Twitch adds something new. So I think, I don't know. Listen, I've talked to some people from Twitch and I've personally like seen around the place and I'm like, man, this place is kind of a mess. I can't believe you guys get anything done here.
Where is it?
Where is it? Well, the place that I went to was, was it in San Jose or San Francisco? Oh shit. I think it was San Jose when I went to TwitchCon. I just look it up, Twitch HQ.
Yeah, I figured it'd be out there. All the tech stuff is out in the Bay Area. Matt, what were you going to say about Pokemon's
San Francisco
apology? Yep. You know, I don't even know what she's apologizing for, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm so out of the loop.
She did a bit of a
which
montage.
Apology?
There were a few. She just dropped like a 15-minute video, I think yesterday.
Oh my God. See, I just don't care. Like,
yeah,
I'm just not seeing it.
Actually, it's decent. It's pretty good. And I mean, she really just kind of went through the bullet points of like, here are the problems right now. Here's the drama surrounding me. I'm just going to address them piece by piece. And Bo Blacks was an element of it too, because there's, I mean, a lot of people are making videos about her, and then there was the crazy stuff with people finding out that she has a boyfriend. I mean, some of it is frivolous, some of it is real. I mean, she was accused of taking down a lot of videos, filing a bunch of takedowns. And so there's some stuff with substance, some things that were really lame internet drama. It ran the gamut. But she made this video where she just sat and talked it through. And it's, it's pretty good as far as those things go.
And the thing is, I mean, I'm reading these comments. People don't care. Like these people, all these comments with all these likes, it's just people joking, you know? Like she's making a genuine apology and people are just joking in the comment section.
Yep.
Even if I check the new comments, 54,000 comments in a day, you know, that's a lot. But it's, imagine this. Imagine my shock. Fucking, can you see this right here? Bruh, the drama on YouTube is kind of dumb. Not false.
Nick DiOrio had a really good response, and I if I can't pull it up in 2 seconds here, then I will have to paraphrase it. But people are giving he's okay. So if you don't know Nick DiOrio, he's a commentary drama type guy who has a bit of a reputation for being aggressive at times, but people are giving him a hard time here about not like ripping her apology, and he just had to respond like, what do you want me to do? Like, she made a sincere, genuine apology for some issues that people brought up. Like, what more do you want?
That in and of itself should be indicative that people don't actually care about apologies. They want the content, you know? Like you said, this guy, he makes drama content. So now that he's not ripping someone, people are upset. Like there you go. You know, people don't actually care about the apology. They want to see the drama YouTuber rip them a new one, no matter what it is. People don't care. The majority of people don't actually genuinely give a shit about drama. They give a shit. It's like a sport. They give a shit about the actual spectacle. You know, it's a new spectacle, and it's real because drama. I've had that in my real life. Now these internet people are doing it too, and it's fun to watch, and it doesn't affect me because it's not my problem.
Or they don't. That's the other thing I've always been wondering, and I'd love both of your perspectives on this. This is just a wild proclamation, and it could be very, very wrong, and maybe the opposite is true. But part of me wonders, like, if you have a lot of serious stuff going on in your life, the last thing that I would want to do is be entertained by other people's problems. Like, I want to escape that. Like, I don't want to like be involved in this sort of like misery. So what I'm asking is, do you think that a lot of this is from people who have nothing going on in their lives and they are vicariously like enjoying other people's problems? Is that a thing? That's my question.
I think
that's
that the people who are most obsessed with drama are the people who have actual real shit going on in their life that they can't deal with, but they feel like they can deal with the internet drama by disowning people, by criticizing them profusely. And they feel like by doing that, by getting someone canceled for some minor thing, right? Or getting someone ridiculed profusely, that somehow helps them overcome their own mental blockade with the real shit they have in their lives. Like seeing someone else, it's seeing someone else suffer makes you feel less bad about yourself, right? It's the whole premise of like live stream fails, the subreddit, the biggest streaming subreddit, you know? It used to be a subreddit just dedicated to people making fuck ups and shit, but now it's like a drama subreddit. And now it's also like a wholesome 100, you know, Reddit moment subreddit. And it's a combo of those things. People want to see people suffer so they feel better about their lives. At the same time, people are like, I think adults typically, I have my own personal shit going on. Can y'all shut the fuck up and play Minecraft? Like, goddamn. It's a mix of both.
I definitely feel what Kevin's talking about with like we had an episode where we flat out talked about why we'd skipped a couple episodes because Kevin and I both had all sorts of crazy things going on, and it was just hard to do normal life. And during that period, like through which has been most of the year for at least me, I would find what I watched on Netflix was really low stakes stuff. Yeah. Really like easy going, sometimes like purposely feel good kind of things. Yeah. Precisely because what Kevin said, like, I don't want to see conflict and, really difficult stuff after a day of like Googling the effects of what would happen if I really drank bleach. Like I don't want to end my day with something that's equally as difficult as that day was, or worse.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
I don't know what it's like for like 16-year-olds though, maybe different.
Well, when you're 16, the world's a lot smaller. I mean, I freshly remember being 16, and I remember my world was very small, but as a result, my problems that existed were still as big as my problems that exist are now, right? Like it's all relative and shit. Yeah. So a 16-year-old who gets rejected by their crush feels just as bad as a 22-year-old who can't afford to pay rent that month, Like it's very equivalent because your worlds are relatively, or your world is relative to your own perspective, right? Like when I was 12, the worst thing that happened to me when I was 12 is I got banned on Call of Duty. I got banned for abusive chat, which I was being very abusive with the chat. I completely deserved it. I would go to jail for the shit I said on Black Ops 2 lobbies. I was 13, 12 or 13, and I should be in jail for that, but I'm not because thankfully Xbox did not store our chats. But man, now I'm looking back like that's so irrelevant. Like that would be the least of my worries today. But
there's this management principle, and I forget the name of it, but like when you assign a task, like any task you have to do expands to fill the amount of time you have to do it. I forget the name of this, but I feel like it's the same thing here where your problems always expand to fill the size of your universe. And if your universe is little, like you described with somebody who's in high school who has a bad breakup, that is a world ending, never going to recover from it kind of thing. Well, you're 30, 35 and you lose your job and, whatever happens, it's a much larger universe, and whatever your problems are there, just expand to fill that too. So you're kind of always in that position.
Yeah, that's like the micro scale of it, right? Now imagine, like, just for shits and giggles, imagine if we just looked up in the sky and there's a fucking alien mothership. Imagine how quickly we would resolve our interpersonal issues down here on Earth, Like, imagine how quickly we'd get over all that shit, because our problems between each other would suddenly seem very insignificant to the alien mothership that is, light years ahead of us as far as technology and shit like that. Like, oh, sorry, not light years. Jesus, I'm in a call with a science man and I just used light years as a time measurement. God, what a fucking embarrassment. Sorry, but like ages ahead of us as far as technology, just leaps and bounds, and they're hovering above us with their death ray pointed at us, and we're over here arguing about oil. Imagine how quickly we'd get over that shit. But to back up, people care about shit depending on how much of their world it makes up. When you're a kid and all you watch are Minecraft YouTubers, right? All you watch are these guys just playing on this Minecraft server, doing really funny shit. And then one of them does something bad. Like one of them gets exposed for doing something weird with their fans, like maybe their fans were underage or some shit. And that is world crushing for you because you dedicated months of your life to that. And you find out, oh, this person's actually a piece of shit behind the scenes. That's world crushing. Me, personally, I was a part of that server. So I was disappointed, but at the same time, I didn't really care that much. Like, yeah, that person's a piece of shit, but it didn't affect my life. I didn't personally feel a whole lot of heartbreak. I felt very disappointed that I was, that someone who was involved in the same thing as me could be that behind the scenes. But it wasn't like super world ending. I didn't feel like making a video on it. Like it's bad, get them out of here. Like it's bad. A person who is a piece of shit did a thing that only a piece of shit would do. Fuck them, get them out of here. Let's move on as a community, right? But people care about things when, in advertising, I studied advertising and social media in school. Things matter depending on proximity, Like, no one cares that some fucking kid died of starvation in some third world country that's 1 million miles away, right? But people do care whenever their aunt catches that same fucking disease or dies of the same cause or some shit. It's because your aunt, that's your aunt. But that kid, I don't know that kid. Who gives a shit, Whenever something happens in like the beauty community, I don't give a fuck. Beauty, I can't do my eyeliner. I don't give a shit about that. But when it happens in like the Minecraft community, which I'm not, like, I keep using Minecraft as a reference. I'm not a huge component of that, right? But whenever it happens in like the streaming community, then I care. Because like, oh, I'm a streamer. This affects me somehow, some way. Like whenever Pokimane gets canceled for what, having a boyfriend? Like, I mean, fuck. Like, imagine if I kept. I mean, I've been with my girlfriend for 6 years. You know, imagine if I kept that private since the start. Imagine how many more female viewers I would have. That would be just devastated. You know, because I'm such an I'm such a 10.
You are.
But like,
speaking of 10, let's talk about Coom caves.
Yeah.
What is a Coom cave, and why are you reviewing them?
Okay, so a Coom cave, right? It is your dungeon. It is your domain, right? Your Coom cave. A Coom cave is a result of just chronic internet addiction, comboed with chronic masturbation disorder, comboed with no self-respect at all, no common decency, right? Like,
that's a heck of a combo.
Yeah. So whenever you're a messy fucking teen, you don't clean up after yourself, you have a Pornhub premium account, and you're just generally like have no respect for hygiene or anything like that, your room will end up looking like and becoming what is essentially a Coom cave. And Coom is a derivative of Coomer, and a Coomer is a derivative of the subgenre of Wojaks based off of Boomer, Doomer, Zoomer, and Coomer is just the equivalent of those except in reference to masturbation, right? So Coomer gets you Coom, which is kind of just synonymous for cum, but funnier, I think, and less vulgar, I feel. And Coom Cave is just, you know, that's just assonance. That's just poetic assonance, and it just works well, I think. There's that consonants, assonance, consonants, some shit. You know, repetition of the consonant sound. Consonants. There you go. But yeah, it's just.
What are some highlights? What are some like frequently seen objects, components, patterns that you've seen across multiple Coom caves? Let's hear about it.
Okay, so unfortunately, with my audience, thankfully has gotten older, so they're mostly adults now. Unfortunately, what I see a lot is sex toys, so I have to cut that. I have to remove that. One time, you know, this person actually now is a moderator for me, but one time I was reviewing rooms, but this is before I called them Coom caves. And I noticed on her nightstand was I think a 14-inch Bad Dragon octopus tentacle dildo. And I was like, wow, okay, next. Because I was observing the foreground, I was observing their gaming setup, but in the background, you see this tentacle sitting on the desk, like kind of like this, sideways. And I'm like, what is that? And then people in my chat were like, I was like, oh, moving on then. I've seen a variety of different sex toys that I've cut from all the final videos and shit like that. But another thing would be, you know, food sitting out. Teenagers and young adults, we're disgusting. We leave food out everywhere, and that's why we have bugs and shit. Another common element would be like crusty clothes, not just dirty clothes, but like crusty clothes on the ground. Like, I don't know what fluid that is, but I have a hunch, and I'm picking that up with tongs. General uncleanliness, poor lighting also, I find. I don't know why that's a common thing, but poor lighting. It's like you live in a musky, dimly lit cave for long enough, you become a monkey, I feel like. And a lot of these kids have like just one lamp in their room, no ceiling fan, just a lamp in the corner. It's like, it's terrible. It's a dungeon. I feel like the CIA is going to get the coordinates out of me in this room, you know, like what the fuck is this?
Well, caves are generally poorly lit, you know, so I mean, it makes sense. What food do you see cropping up quite often? Like Totino's pizza rolls, Funyuns, Munchos. Like, what are we talking here?
A lot of Hot Pocket sleeves like this. It's because
now do the Hot Pocket sleeves double as anything else, or do they just remain Hot Pocket sleeves? Like, do they have a dual purpose?
No. No, they're just, I mean, I suppose to be really creative, they could become like throwing stars, but aside from the possibility of turning it into a lethal weapon, no, they don't function as any sort of like fleshlight or anything, if that's where you're going with that. No, not at all. I would assume that the best option for that would be like a toilet paper roll, and then like, you know, makeshifting sort of interior, but you know, that's neither here nor there. It's like dirty plates with bits of food left over if your parents make dinner, right? A lot of the Coom caves, you find it's people's entire house but condensed to the room because they live with their parents, you know. It's hot pocket sleeves. It's like actual pots. Like you can tell these are fucking young adults because they haven't gotten to the stage where they're making dinner and putting it on a plate. They're making dinner and then eating it straight out of the pot they made it in, right? So you see a lot of that, empty cups with mold in them. Here in Texas, you know, we drink a lot of sweet tea, and so sweet tea gets moldy really fast because of all the sugar.
Ugh.
And I mean, even when I was like fucking 19 living in my first apartment, like God, I would just leave sweet tea everywhere. One time I accidentally drank the wrong thing of sweet tea and I swallowed what was actually a glob of floating mold. And it was a glob. I'm telling you, slimy glob. And I was like, oh, wow, that was not an ice cube, was it? No, it was not. No.
That's
oh, man.
nasty.
I didn't get sick. I took an antibiotic and a couple of Tums. I did not get sick.
And you didn't gag when you swallowed it? You didn't throw up or anything?
Oh, because I thought it was ice cube. And then I was like, I looking at the thing and I was like, wait, this tea's warm. That was not an ice cube. Oh my God. Oh my God, that was not an ice cube. I gagged at the thought, but I did not gag when it went down because it went straight down, man. It went straight down because it was so, like, it was mold. So it was kind of slimy and it just went right down. Like, what was that? What was that? Must have been an ice cube. This is room temp. How was that an ice cube? Uh-oh.
I can't wait for Ben to clip that audio. That's all I want. I'm thinking already about what video to put that little snippet of audio over top of. It's going to be awesome.
But man, the Coom Caves is like one of the things I'm most proud of lately. I love that. I love that I have my own little thing. And I just started another thing last night and I'm going to be uploading it soon. Cringe confession. So I have everyone get in Discord. Everyone changes their profile picture to the same thing. Everyone changes their username to a summary of their story. And I pick, everyone joins a private VC where they're all muted. And then I pick people to drag them in based on their username, which is a summary of their confession, right? And we had people last night coming in and talking about like, okay, so I was really horny during a Zoom call in my college class. So I turn off my camera and my crush is in this class. and he confessed that he masturbated on a fucking Zoom call with all of his classmates. And I was like, you are disgusting. You are a depraved human being. And that's fucking hilarious. You should be ashamed of yourself. And you're a piece of shit. And I prescribed to him. We did it like an actual like Catholic confession room. Like I prescribed him his repentance and he shall go and confess his sins to the Lord. And he didn't even have any regrets, man. He was kind of giddy about it. Like, yeah.
Man, the dark side of distance learning.
Yeah, true. What were some other ones last night? Like one kid got his dad sent to prison for 10 years because he thought it'd be funny to catfish his dad, but he catfished his dad as like a child, like a little girl. And then he was like, oh my God, wait, what? And it actually worked. And then he told a friend and his friend told their parents and their parents told the police. The police raided his father's house and they actually found an abundance of shit on his hard drives. And now he's in prison for 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's, first of all, that's crazy. Second of all, I mean,
That's
good.
wild.
He should be in prison.
Yeah. I asked
he should
I asked the
definitely
kid
be
about
in prison.
like, what's that cocktail of emotions of like finding out your father is doing that shit. And like, and he described it as like a bunch of anger, disappointment, relief, comboed with grief. Like that was my father, you know, like on one hand, like, fuck that guy. On the other hand, that was the guy that raised me, you know, like shit. But I really enjoyed that bit last night because it was all over the place. It was left and right with like just funny shit and sad shit and real shit. Like the cringe confessions, I think are going to be a new favorite of mine to make. It's going to be beautiful. And
it sounds like it could almost be cathartic for some people.
Sure. I mean, they have their anonymity, right? You know, aside from their voice. And maybe in the future, I'll make people download Clownfish or something to change their voice a little bit. But, you can confess anonymously. Like one kid talked about how in the 4th grade, he was pantsed in front of the entire playground. And he wasn't wearing underwear, or his underwear came down. So he's pants in front of his entire school and he moved the next week. Like they moved into a new school. Like, fuck. Imagine.
That's a literal nightmare.
Yeah, and he said it actually still affects. He's a grown man now, and it still affects him to this day. I was like, "Fuck, that's sad," you know.
Jeez. Oh my gosh!
the
God,
whole
I want to
school-
relay. I want to relay a story that's very much like that, but I think, yeah, because Kevin knows who it is, since we go back a pretty long way.
Mhm.
I think they'd be identifiable, though. I can't do it.
No, you don't worry about
No
it.
I can't
idea
tell
what
the
you're
story.
talking about.
So, but that's a yeah.
I remember this.
But you talked about. I hate this. So you talked about like the doing things for the anonymity's sake, like using clownfish or something like that. I mean, do you think at what point do you? How much does it matter that the story is absolutely true? Because somebody could
It doesn't.
quite easily just make up
Honestly,
anything. Yeah,
last
they
night
really
there were
wouldn't.
some-
Would it?
Last night there were some crazy stories, and honestly, like one kid. The craziest story last night was talking about how his dad came home. His mom thought his dad was cheating because he was like talking to another woman, but it was just like an old friend or some business partner or some shit. And anyways, mom goes in the kitchen, gets a bread knife, and stabs his father straight through the meat of his arm, right? And then his mom has like a fling or some shit. Like his parents are happily married, but then like some guy comes over to pick up his mom, and I guess it might be like her boyfriend or some shit. His dad gets so mad that he gets his katana from the bedroom. Like he has a katana that his grandfather gave him or some shit. And he goes out to the guy's Jeep and stabs the katana through the door of his Jeep. And then the cops arrive, and his dad had already thrown the knife that he was stabbed with out into the woods out of anger. But then he went to the woods and got the knife and shit and brought it back. And then he updated me with it and said like, "Oh yeah, my mom has a court date on the 16th of next month, and she's being charged with attempted murder on my dad." I was like, attempted murder? I feel like that'd be like aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. But attempted murder, sure. I mean, it is a knife. They're from North Carolina. I don't know if that's how the law works there, but at either rate, if that story was fake or if it was real, that was a good fucking story, because the kid was very precise in detail and shit. And you typically don't find that in fake stories, it's what led me to believe it was real. He was very precise with detail, like little shit. Like my dad was angry, the knife was like jiggling around in his arm and shit, so he just yanked it out. I was like, that's very believable.
Specific.
I feel like.
Yeah.
It's very specific
When you
and
said the
believable.
katana stabbed through the Jeep door, I'm like, oh, that made it feel believable to me.
Because
if you got this katana,
easy.
like,
Yeah.
why don't you stab a Jeep door?
Well, he
Yeah,
said it was
that
easy because
seems
the
real.
Jeep, it was the kind of Jeep where like it has no top and the doors are made of that like vinyl shit.
Oh, yeah.
So the katana
they're
went straight
thin.
through the Jeep. And he said he
Yeah.
also slashed the tires. And I was like, you could slash tires with a katana, sure. If it was sharp, you could stab them right through. And I feel like the door of like a Jeep, like the canopy doors and shit like that, you could easily stab through those. Yeah, this is a very specific story that I feel like is very almost true. And he said his little sister had pictures of everything because she was recording the entire thing, but she wasn't home. So I kind of want to, now that I'm thinking about it, I kind of want to backtrack and see if that story is real. I don't want to like show this kid's info on my stream or anything like that, but I want to see this. I really want to see it now. Shit. But
I
if
can
it's not
see some
real,
of these stories lending themselves to like really good "Where Are They Now" segments. Like whatever happened.
yeah.
Whatever happened to the guy who cranked it in the Zoom call? Like just do a follow up like on Catfish.
Like,
after like at the end of Catfish.
Yeah.
They do the call where it's like, oh, how's it been 3 months after you were, led to believe this supermodel was in love with you, and it turned out to be, your cousin.
Oh.
Those are always really good wrap ups, and I definitely want to see the follow up on these stories.
Yeah, no, I mean, even if I find out it wasn't real, it was a good story and it made for good content. Like it doesn't need to be real, it just needs to be entertaining. I'm not worried about like the validity of anything. I'm not fact checking. I'm not like, okay, submit your ID and shit just in case, give me your address as collateral in case you lie. Like, no, I don't care. I don't care that much. But if it's too unbelievable, I'm just be like, all right, you're making it up. Bye. And I'm just not going to put it in the video. But that kid's story was really, really, really believable. So I'm leaving that in, and all the other stories were like little funny shit. We probably did, I think 40 or 50. So we'll probably take like 15 to 20 out of them. And there was like 100 people that wanted to submit their stories. And they were all waiting in that VC with the exact same monkey profile picture. And like some people were very concise with their summaries. Like one kid had his name set to Come Cantaloupe. It's like, oh man, I kind of want to see, but at the same time, I can just infer based on the name that like he's using a cantaloupe as a as a partner. So I'm not gonna. We don't need to go in there. Although it's disgusting.
As a partner, is the cantaloupe a partner in that process?
Yeah,
I feel like a cantaloupe would be, if not a victim, at least a silent party. I feel like upgrading them to partnership would be a stretch.
you don't know if it was a consensual cantaloupe or not. You know. Like,
oh man, that reminds me of a terrible Saved by the Bell joke where Screech is going to get married. He's going to elope, and Mr. Belding says, "Screech, you can't elope." And Screech says, "Who are you calling a cantaloupe, you watermelon?" And on that note, I would love to take questions for Weest from our patrons. Do we have some questions? I know one of our patrons, Jake Roper, asked how many hot dogs you think you could fit in your mouth.
Okay, are these kosher dogs? Are these beef dogs? Are these Angus dogs? What are we talking?
He didn't specify.
Let's say they're Nathan's Famous. Like since Jake Roper, who I believe has a YouTube channel of his own.
Yeah,
are you familiar with it, Kevin?
I think it's Vsauce 4.
Something. Yeah.
Yes, Vsauce 4. Since he didn't specify, we have to assume that they're the national standard of the Nathan's Famous used in the 4th of July hot dog eating competition.
Okay. I know how many I can fit up my ass.
Raw wieners, no bun.
Yeah. True. I know how many I can fit up me, but not down me. I'm going to go ahead and shave off 20%, and I'm going to say 6 directly in my mouth, just all at once, which I think it's fair.
It seems right.
It seems valid.
Wait,
Kevin, 20%? How many do you think you could put away?
20.
Could I eat or just hold in my mouth like this, like the size of my mouth? Probably.
I think just fit. Yeah, I think it's just stuffing them. You don't have to bite and swallow. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, probably 4.
What's the diameter of a hot dog?
That's it. So there are 8 in a pound most of the time, right? And if you think about that pound package, then you curl it up into a ball because they're going to nest pretty nicely. Hot dogs are going to nest with like no real dead area in between them. I bet you could easily put 12 in.
12?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I think that you could be a dozen dogger. Yeah.
That's going to be my new Twitter profile, my new bio.
So
dozen
Kevin,
dogger.
Can you describe what's happening here?
I'm not sure what's happening here. I think Weest is measuring his mouth.
He's got a tape measure.
I've got a vertical diameter of about 3 inches, and horizontally, I feel like I can stretch it to about 4.5. So if we do that, and we take the cross section of each hot dog and apply it to the surface area, I'm almost certain I could fit well over 10 now that I think about it.
See, I think 10 or 12 is completely fair. Yeah. That's got to be about right. When you, I'm trying to crunch the surface area of an ellipsis with 3 by 4.5 and can't quite get there.
Yeah, but I'm confident.
Just the general estimate. Yeah.
The fact that
I bet you could even go more than 12.
Yeah. The fact that they're cut in a way that nestled very tightly inside of a package with little excess space just for like the fluid in the air. I think they would also fit in my mouth the same way. Now, how far in? I don't know. That's because my teeth are eventually going to start blocking it, and I don't want to scrape the hot dog, and hot dogs. Sorry, how many guys? I mean, 10 hot dogs, and I think I could do it. Yeah. The bun lengths, I could only get a few inches in. Yeah, just a few. The beef franks, though, I could probably swallow this whole. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Buns change everything.
Oh yeah, a bun? No, bro, like 2. If we're adding buns, that's just not fair. You know? Ugh.
I'm annoyed that I want to know the answer to this now. It's such a throwaway question, and now I actually, because I find it preposterous that I could fit 12 hot dogs in my mouth. That seems like way, way too many.
Like just the wieners? I mean, I have a pack of hot dogs in the fridge. Wieners.
You have some?
I do in fact have some hot dogs in the fridge. Should I?
Are you willing to try?
I am.
Should I?
Okay, he's going to get the hot dogs. We're just going to try because I want to know. He has them.
We
Why
might
not?
As well.
Hot dogs are cheap.
This is science. This is the scientific process that Neil deGrasse Tyson elucidated in your collab with him. And
it is actually.
It's important that
we have a hypothesis.
the chat, by the way, is
It needs to be tested.
Someone record the video, please. APM says absolutely beautiful. Ben says, what the hell is happening? Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not often that we get a real answer to a question like this.
Okay. I returned. I'm setting out a paper towel so as to catch any fluids from my double XL mouse pad.
Hot dog juice.
Yeah. So right here I have Oscar Mayer Smokies, uncured smoked sausage franks. So these are a little bit thicker in the middle, but I think it'll work.
A fresh pack? You have a full pack of them?
Yep, all 8.
All right. Well, let's see. Let's see if we can get up to 8. Because the estimate was 10 to 12. So
yeah. So if I can do 8
should
easily,
be no problem.
I think 10 with effort would be reasonable.
We'll have a sense. Yeah, we'll
Now
have a
that I'm
sense
sitting here
of what
looking
that
at these
extra
guys-
room can hold.
These guys are kind of thick.
They are. Those are
Okay,
big
so let's-
ones.
Would you describe them as girthy?
Oh,
So you got 4 in right now.
See,
Okay.
that was my guess. 4, 5, 6.
We're up to
6.
6.
We're up to 6. But that was a bit of a slide. And pulling the
It
cheek
always
apart
is.
to try to get 7 in there. Let's see. 7? 7? Okay. It looked like some sort of Cthulhu.
Is that the 8?
That's 8.
You got 8 in.
Okay.
8 in your mouth
8.
right
And
now.
how does it feel? How does it feel? Could you do more? Could you do more than 8?
So you top out at 8.
He really looks like some kind of meat Cthulhu.
Oh, wow. My jaw unhinged. Holy shit.
You're like a snake.
I felt
Swallowing
it go
an egg.
back into place. I feel like my dentist would be so mad at me right now. God.
Yeah,
I
like,
felt-
what did you do to your jaw? Oh, I shoved wieners in there for a podcast. I shoved Smokies in there to answer a podcast question.
It was worth. I mean,
You know
so
his
if I
first
can do,
question would be how many?
you know,
Absolutely.
okay, these are actually really good. If I can do 8 Smokies, I'm confident I could do 10 like regular dogs, like Franks,
All
like hot dogs, like the actual abomination food.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right.
All right, cool.
Well,
They did look pretty thick.
I'm gonna feed one of these to my dog because I feel bad for wasting them.
hypothesis confirmed. Now it needs to be peer reviewed. So if anybody any of the patrons in the chat want to try it home, please let us know how that goes.
Mm.
Oh, man,
Oh, that's going to be
Speak.
very difficult to follow up.
Boy, lay down. Mm-hmm.
it is. Yeah.
Wow, I'm actually impressed with myself. I don't see what these ladies were complaining about. That wasn't too bad. No, it wasn't bad at all.
There are so many screenshots of this in the chat right now. It's very, very funny.
No, I mean,
It's good.
I think it's
This is the benefit of being a patron, by the way, right? You
It
get
is.
to see some of these things that, like, nobody woke up today thinking that they would get this show. They just didn't.
No. Absolutely true. No, I
Told
don't
my,
think we can top that. That was amazing.
Oh, well, thanks, man. I told my girlfriend that she needed to get a new pack of hot dogs on her way home, and she said why, and I'm hesitant to tell her why.
Don't
You
give
can
any
blame us.
context to that. Make sure there's no context. And if she asks, and you got to be weird about it and just be like, look, I don't want to talk about this. Make it traumatic.
A huge rift in the relationship. Or you just secretly
It's going to
put
be
them
one of
back
the
and don't tell
confessions on
anyone.
your own channel.
I watched my girlfriend eat my mouth tested hot dog and I never told her about it.
Mm. Oh, she's only minorly disappointed. It's okay.
Okay. Well, good. We don't want to disappoint any significant others on this show. It's not our aim.
Chinchilla says in the chat that he's waiting on the twit longer about this. And frankly, I don't know which of the three of us should be the one writing it.
The hot dog company.
Yeah, Oscar Mayer.
Yeah, they are the ones that were violated the most.
Oh, man.
Well, we
That was
have,
awesome.
let me think how to order these. Do you have, if you can, let me see. Can you click the episode chat? Because this one is a photographic response. Let's see.
Yes.
I've pasted that. It's uploading. Okay. In the episode chat, can you give your thoughts on this picture? And for the audio audience, it is a photo of Mike Tyson biting the shirt of what appears to be a toddler, and that toddler is crying and being pulled away.
Yeah. So obviously I can already tell straight from the get-go that, he's doing his signings. I see a huge stack of photos.
Yep.
He has a Sharpie in his hand, so he's signing photos. Obviously the elderly man that is holding his child was like, "Hey, Mike, can you do that thing to my boy's shirt?" And Mike was like, "Hell yeah, I can. Hell yeah. I'm gonna bite his shirt." And he did exactly that for the photo because he's looking straight into the camera. The kid was just not here for it. The kid didn't even want to be at the fight to begin with. Everyone's laughing except for the woman in the top right. If you enlarge the image, there is a woman in the top right who's not happy to be there. She's there with her
way in the background. Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone else is endearingly looking at the man holding the child, and Mike's looking into the camera like he always is, probably. And this is just a genuine case of like anything for attention from a celebrity, right? Hey, bite my kid's shirt, even if it does scare the fuck out of my kid, the absolute shit out of my kid. Who cares? I would do it if I were Mike Tyson. I would have done it too. Who cares? Not my kid. I'm never gonna see this kid again.
If you were the parent, would you do this with your child?
No, I wouldn't have a child. No. Okay. If I was the parent with a child, oh man, I can't say that I would do this. I don't know, because it's hard to put myself in a scenario where I'm interested in fighting or boxing. Like, I just can't imagine myself being really into this. And I can't imagine myself being into any celebrity so much so that I want them to put their mouth near my child's clothing. I just don't see it.
That's
but
fair.
let's say it's like, okay, the only interaction I can get with fucking Jennifer Lawrence is if I let her lick my kid's shoe. Sure, lick my kid's shoe. He's not going to remember. I will, though. I'll think about it a lot.
Yeah, the child is not being actively harmed in this photo.
No,
his shirt is being tugged on.
Yeah, it's just, a little bit of fear, but nothing crazy. It's okay. The child will be fine.
No long-standing trauma then.
Oh man, if the child is permanently scared of like boxers or, God forbid, black men for the rest of his life, that's his father's fault. Absolutely.
Antimatter Tape posted the video of you eating the hot dogs, and the caption is, "As the number of hot dogs go up, the pixels go down," which is really funny.
Yes. Beautiful.
The hot dogs affect like the compression of the clip.
Yeah,
oh my
Discord's
gosh.
bitrate is just not kind to video at all.
No, it's not great. It's not great. Oh man.
Isaac asks about your background, and by the way, this is another thing that the audio people can't see. You have a great a great Coom cave there.
Thank you, man.
It's pretty
Thank
impressive.
you. Yeah, this is just the guest room for my place, and I just turn it in my right. I turn it into my office here, and it's just,
well, it looks awesome.
Some cheap LEDs, some lamps or some bulbs that I put into a $12 IKEA lamp, and a couple of RGB spotlights, which I had floodlights rather, RGB floodlights that I had no idea existed. So I copped those for like $40 on Amazon. I was like, yo, sick. And yeah, this is just
Isaac. Oh, sorry.
No, yeah, it's like some IKEA shelves, a $80 futon from Amazon, and just various knickknacks that I've had sent to me in my PO box, and decorations, and a whole bunch of G Fuel.
That's the question. And when we go to G Fuel, what code do we use?
Code Weest in checkout to save 10% off your order.
Code Weest at checkout to save 10% of your order of G Fuel.
Yeah.
So Isaac asked about the stuff on the wall in the back because you did point out the Pokemon photo.
Mm-hmm.
What is your favorite piece on that wall? What's
My
your favorite
piece on this wall. Damn, that's tough. I'm a huge fan of anything Overwatch related. So I have a plushy Winston back there. I have a Pachamari, which is it is the Overwatch universe equivalent of like Hello Kitty. It's an onion. It's a little cute little onion. and this is, you see this everywhere in Overwatch. There's a Pachimari on every level in the game. Almost every character has like some sort of reference to a Pachimari. Like one of my favorite for Roadhog, because Roadhog's this big fat guy that's like really, he's big and mean and scary. My favorite emote for him is he turns away from everyone and he pulls a Pachimari out from his ass and he like pets it, and then he like gets startled and puts it away again. I love the Pachimari, but if I really, really, really had to pick, maybe my little Doge figurine that I got from YouTube's. I ordered it and waited like 4 months to get it because of shipping delays. And I love Doge as a meme. It's my all-time favorite example of a meme having more than 2 or 3 stages of irony, because it's just, it was here in 2011 and then it died. And then it came back in like 2014, ironically, like, oh, look at this old meme. We're using it ironically now and it's funny. And then it died again. And then it came back in a post-ironic sense. And it has all these layers to it, all these layers of just irony and just unfunniness comboed with funniness. Like the absurdity equals the comedy. And it's here. Now it's a staple. It's a staple like Pepe in Twitch chat. Like it no longer means like anything what it used to. It is now a representation of the self. And I know it's very, very philosophical for a fucking Shiba Inu, but like, I love Doge. My most frequented subreddit is r/Doge lore, and I just look at terrible memes of this fucking yellow dog. I've seen the image so many times it's no longer real. You guys ever get that? You guys ever look at something so many times it becomes surreal and non-existent? Like if you look at
that's called
the original
semantic
photo,
satiation. That's called semantic satiation. That's an actual thing. Yeah, you could look that up.
You just oversaturate like your brain to the point where like. This is not a real
word
dog.
Becomes meaningless. If you say a word over and over and over again, it loses its meaning. Yeah, it happens with a bunch of stuff.
This fucking dog, man. It has human eyes, Like I look at this dog and it's just not real. My the button for my green screen is a Doge. It's a Doge wearing a chroma key suit. I incorporate it in anything I can because it's just I love this fucking yellow dog. I love you too, buddy. Don't worry. I'm not shit talking you at all. Yeah, you can come up here. Come on. He's chilling.
So we have a couple quick hits and then a big one. Okay. The quick hits are from James. James, because, and I'm going to censor this one because we haven't talked about anything so far to this point that would require the explicit designation on iTunes. Definitely not. So
of course.
Choose between T or A.
Wait, where am I looking? Oh, shit.
Oh no, James is asking tits or ass.
Oh, T or A. See, I'm not going to draw that conclusion.
That's his question.
Okay, tits or ass. Okay, well,
that's James's question. Australia apparently needs to know.
Yeah, this is a simple mechanical thing. Like you can do almost nothing with tits, whereas there's quite a few options with ass. Tits are these flesh bags. They're ass cheeks with nipples, right? Sure. They're hanging from the chest though. So it's in an inopportune spot. Like what's near the chest? Not much else, right? With ass, one, it is a buddy, chill, he's biting my hand, so I pet him. It is a opportunity for many other scenarios to play out, right? One, I mean, you're near the actual business side of things, yeah. I think the ass is just generally more attractive. You're near the thighs. This is nice. You're already in a good configuration to get to other work, I feel, and you have the added possibility of maybe accessing God's loophole, saving both of your virginities and staying pure in the eyes of God.
That's a good rundown. Some practical concerns, some philosophical concerns.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a good vocabulary word, and because we're going to take that answer and make it as highbrow as we can. Callipygian. Or callipygous. If someone is callipygous, that means that they have ample buttocks.
Oh, nice.
The roots in it are Greek, I believe. And it's a really good word that I'm surprised that we don't see very often. Calyp, callipygous, is that right?
Yeah, I'm seeing it here. Callipygous. Yeah.
Yeah.
The quest for the
yeah, what a great word.
Yeah, no, it's nice. It's nice. One of my favorite words is gregariosity.
People talk all the time about gregariosity. That flows nicely.
Yeah, no, it's nice. It's solid. Also, there's another one I learned last night. Oh man, and I forgot it already because I just don't store words like I used to, man. I haven't read since high school. It was a synonym for self-righteous, and I really, really liked it. Oh man, I'm gonna find it right here. Sanctimonious. Love that word.
Oh, sanctimonious is great.
Mhm.
My mom had a saying about sanctimony and sanctimonious hypocrites. And I remember being really young and hearing that word. And she's probably the only person I've ever met who has used it like in conversation with some frequency. Sanctimony is great. That's a good one.
I find a lot of sanctimonious behavior in online communities, especially when people are trying to save face or make themselves look like they're really good people when in fact they're kind of just pieces of shit like everyone else.
Yes. So when you're ordering your annual subscription to the Oxford English Dictionary, use code Weest for 10% off that.
Yeah, hell yeah, do that.
That code actually works. So we got that one. This one, I'm actually really interested in this now that we're seeing your setup. And you've talked about aesthetics on things from memes to, really everything around it, from memes to Coom caves.
Yeah.
What's your favorite color? How does it factor into the setup that you're sitting in all the time? Because you're playing these video games to exhaustion every day.
So I don't necessarily have a favorite color. If I had to pick, I would say purple, but the vaporwave aesthetic of blue to pink to teal to purple, I really enjoy, if you can't tell. Also, I have an alternative camera angle here that I can show you for my setup.
Oh, nice.
And my entire setup is themed around that. It's just the aesthetic all the way. Now, this light is normally this color right here. It's normally that. So it kind of like goes with everything. The lights on the back of my monitors, even they flash according to sound and change color. But yeah, the keyboard, even my soundboard, all that shit. It's that same exact aesthetic inside of my PC and all that. I stick to it. I don't know why. I think one day I just saw a vaporwave meme. I liked the aesthetic and I was like, fuck it, that's my aesthetic now, and I'm sticking to it.
And how important is that to have an aesthetic around where you are spending so much time? Like this is kind of like a real nuts and bolts question for somebody who does what you do.
It's honestly not that important. People think that to get into streaming, you need all this equipment, you need a beautiful background, you need all these lights and shit. I'm like, bro, I started from my Xbox. People don't come into my stream like, man, I'm gonna stare at his camera the entire time because the lights in the back are so pretty. It's not. It doesn't matter. I could change my color to green tomorrow, and no one would give a shit. I mean, they might say something at first like, "Oh, you change your colors," but it's not like my color aesthetic in my office defines me. The only thing that defines me is my own personality. You know, it's what I choose to define myself as. If your
does it make you happier though? Does all this stuff make you?
Does it make me happy? Oh no, yeah, I love my fucking office. I love sitting here. I sit in here, I play video games, I jerk off, I sit in Discord calls. I love it in here. It's my setup is the dream setup I always wanted. So I have it and I feel good about it. I don't ever feel like, man, I wish I had lights in here. I wish I had more lights. Like I like it just the way it is. I've gotten to that point where I've kind of plateaued in terms of like, what do I need to upgrade next? Because coming up, like as far as Twitch streaming and shit, you feel like you need to upgrade stuff all the time. It's quality of life, it's for ease of production, and like, what else do you need to upgrade? Maybe I should just hire someone else to stream for me. That'll be the ultimate upgrade. Just quit. Just quit and let someone else do it and make me the money. But no, I can't say that it doesn't make me happy. It definitely does. You know, I have the dream PC. I have the triple monitor setup that I always wanted. I have all 3 consoles over here. I have the camera that I always wanted. And I'm fucking using it as a webcam, which is so absurd to me. But yeah, no, I like it in here, man. I like it. Eventually, I'm gonna move. I'm gonna take it all down and set up somewhere else. Maybe I'll become inspired again. Like, oh, okay, this time the aesthetic is orange. Everything orange all the time. I don't know, but it doesn't.
Well, after you move, and sorry, go on, Kevin.
Oh no, I just can't wait to hear our final question. But continue. I'm just excited for our penultimate question.
I'm dragging this one on because I feel like I can't give it just a simple answer to it. I feel like that with everything. Like I have to explain everything. I don't know.
Here's a simple one from Boromir: Pepsi or Coke?
Pepsi or Coke? Oh, I don't do sugar, guys.
But what about diet?
Okay, so Coke Zero. Coke Zero, sure.
Coke Zero is good.
In statistics in high school, we surveyed 300 people to see if they could tell the difference in a blind taste test, and 49.9% of people correctly guessed, and the remaining percentage incorrectly guessed. So people can't tell the difference between the two. So I don't care. But
Wow,
Coke Zero.
That's pretty close.
Coke Zero, if I'm really choosy, sure. It's like an identical
And
recipe,
base
which
weight.
blows my mind.
I feel like they taste very different.
Yeah, and that's what
the data
everyone
doesn't
says.
lie.
Everyone says that, and then everyone gets it wrong 50% of the time.
Wow. That's kind of trippy.
No, it is. I mean, it's the exact.
So base weight's question is, he wants to know the best insult you've heard given to Brandon.
To Brandon. Oh,
Yes,
to
the
Brandon.
best insult of Brandon.
Oh man. To Wild Spartans, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Fuck. Man, okay. The best insult. Oh, someone called him a Cro-Magnon one time. That was funny. Because he kind of does have a big block head. Like, he just kind of looks like a caveman, like sort of a proto-human almost, but that's because he's so large and blocky. I think one time I called him a Minecraft Steve looking ass, but I was just being mean. I think the best insult goes back to that guy who just said Wild Spartans, aka nom nom nom. Like, I don't
That's
know,
pretty
just
good.
something about that, just like the Cookie Monster nomming shit. That's so fucking funny. Like, it doesn't go much farther than that, because Brandon's a nice guy. It's hard to insult him too, because he has very thick skin. Like, everything bounces right off. And mostly just back into your face, because he's brutal as well. Like, that's why we get along, I think, because we're pretty brutal to each other. I think that's what makes for a healthy friendship dynamic, is being able to, shit on each other and then laugh it off.
All right. Well, we have reached the stage at which we're going to ask you the ultimate question, and
Yes.
You may already have an answer for it. You may not.
Okay.
The question is, Weest, what is your fursona?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I've had this in my mind for a long time. If I was a furry, my
good.
persona would be a three-toed sloth. I would obviously be a gamer, so it'd be a gamer three-toed sloth. I'd have headphones on or whatever. And I always tell myself I would have a comically large chode, like quite large and overhang, so large, in fact, that there is no erection possibility, right? I am toting it around both arms. Actually, I have an image somewhere saved. I actually do.
Okay.
I have the actual persona. Let's see.
Did somebody draw this for you?
Yes,
or
someone
did.
did.
You commission somebody to do it?
Many, many years ago, someone did, in fact, make this for me. Let me see if I can find it. I have a few thousand files saved on my PC, so it's the odds of me like being able to look it up by keyword are very slim. But just in case I do, it would be beautiful, I think, because I'd love for you guys to see it. I've showed very few people my persona. Damn, maybe check my drive. I'm gonna ask my moderators in my Discord real quick if anyone has my persona at here. Does anyone have my persona where I am a big sloth with a huge cock? And if no one has that, then no one has it. It would be unfortunate, but
This is your job. Do you realize that? What you're doing
yes.
right now?
yes,
This
absolutely.
is your life. This is your life. This is your career.
Yeah. No regrets. I have absolutely none. No, I come from a really small town, and like I'm and not bragging, not in the slightest. I am the most famous person from my really small town, which is absolutely hilarious to me because all I do is make cum jokes for a living. And
do you think that eventually there'll be a sign that says "Home of Weest"?
No, absolutely not. No, it doesn't matter how famous I get; they would never be proud of that. No.
I can't wait to be driving through a town, and there's like, one gas station, and I pull in and I pass that sign that says "Birthplace of Weest."
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Maybe a statue. I don't know. We'll see. The next 10 years, who knows? Anything's possible.
True. I think I have my persona in a video, actually. If I can pull it up for you guys just once, just a frame of it at least, I'd be so pleased. Oh, fuck. Oh, I found it. Yep. Found it.
No.
Found it.
It's coming.
Okay, so I'm quite young in this screen grab. I'm much younger. I feel like I think I'm 18. This is 4 years. No, oh, wait, what? This is only 2018. God, I've changed so much. Okay, wait, that's the wrong button. I'm sorry. Hold on. There we go. Right there. That is my persona. Oh shit. Oh, I'm so fat. Oh my god.
And it's the the sloth face is great though.
Yeah, no, this is my persona right here. I knew it. I knew I had it somewhere.
And it's pixelated and blocked out, so because it's on YouTube.
Yeah, this is on my main channel.
Okay.
January 4th, 2018. Wow.
The not safe for work element of your persona is very purple.
Yeah, I think that's like an artistic decision.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
It looks unhealthy. It looks bad. Looks like it needs some
it's probably a
circulation.
byproduct of the weight. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do you a favor and Google sloth penis.
It's that purple vaporwave obsession.
That's
okay,
right.
I'm looking at the sloth penis. It's very unimpressive. It's actually quite sad. Wow, it is minute. I mean, that is just pathetic. Like that's really unimpressive.
Oh God.
You know. Hey, we're all experts here,
and patrons are getting a treat.
Yeah.
I know. And I feel like we got to the point of the show where we're at like sloth genitalia. It's time to stop. It's the end. That's the end of the road. We've run out of runway. And
no, this is peak conversation topics.
No, that's it. That's it for me. Weest, thank you so much for joining us. It's been interesting. We've been a lot of places in the last 2 hours. And
thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. Thanks. That's it for us.
Hey.
There you go.
Hell yeah.
See you, Space Cowboys.